Monsterverse is in sort of a weird place right now. Godzilla x Kong The New Empire was the highest grossing Godzilla film ever made, but that film's director, Adam Wingard, will not be returning to direct the next installment in the franchise. It feels like there's a lot of uncertainty right now with where the Monsterverse should go, but I have a few ideas. This is just a fun writing exercise as a fan more than anything else. Basically, if the head of Legendary Pictures showed up at my door right now and put me in charge of the Monsterverse, what would I do? First and foremost, we have to be realistic here. In a perfect world, I would love for there to be 3 Monsterverse movies every year, with Rodan and Mothra getting their own solo films, but that's just not something that could realistically happen for a bunch of reasons. For starters, those movies just wouldn't appeal to general audiences. Names like Kong and Godzilla bring in what's known as marquee value. It's somewhat of an older concept about having recognizable names and titles on movie posters. There's a reason why Toho titled Godzilla vs. Megalon, rather than Jet Jaguar vs. Megalon, because audience members at the time had no clue what a Jet Jaguar was. Beyond marquee value, we should look at the speed of which Legendary has been pumping out these movies. We got Godzilla in 2014. 3 years later, we got Kong Skull Island. 2 years after that, we got King of the Monsters. As a result of certain world events, Godzilla vs. Kong was delayed until 2021. And finally, Godzilla x Kong came out 3 years later. What I'm getting at is, the Monsterverse isn't like the MCU where we're
Both New
getting
Empire
several
and
releases a
GVK did
year
come out
or
on my
even
birthdays,
one
which
release a
I
year.
did enjoy
In
the
my
games.
vision of this new phase of the Monsterverse, I want to keep it that way. Spreading out movies like that prevents burnout in general audiences.
Oh my god, it is Spider-Man!
How can I help you, cutie pie?
Skibbity toilet!
Hey, I already seen this movie. Let's talk about other movies we've seen.
So the first movie I would release in this new phase.
Alright, so, this actually isn't me reacting to this YouTuber. This is Firewood Media. Been subscribed to him for a while. This is actually me kind of working on that too. Working on his video. Working on his video? No, that doesn't make any sense. Let me do this. Look, it's me. It's my whole face. Ooh, scared you. Face reveal. Don't worry about the shit behind me. This is just, the room is going to be clear. So, me also being a Monsterverse fan, or a Godzilla fan in general, I've also had ideas too. So this is what that video is. So me not reacting to his video, to Firewood Media. You should check his stuff out too. He's got a lot of good kaiju retrospective videos on Godzilla movies, Gamera. I think he's now working on Ultraman. But he does other stuff too, not just giant monsters. He even has his own like short films too. He's a filmmaker himself, which is cool. Um, yeah, me being a Monsterverse fan too, I've had ideas if that scenario happened too. So this is what this video is gonna be about. Is if, well, head of Legendary came to me and said, "What do you want to do? What are you going to do?" Now, there are a few things that I'm going to have stipulations for as well. One of them being, it makes sense about the whole marquee value. That's why we're not. That's why, realistically, we are probably not going to have a Mothra standalone movie, which is a bummer. Um, Budgetary issues are very realistic, obviously. Godzilla King of the Monsters underperformed, even though it's like one of the highlighted good movies of the Monsterverse. And of course, the fact that Legendary does have to pay Toho a shit ton of money to use the names of Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, and anyone else that Toho owns. And of course, if you get a movie with, say, big name actors, of course the budget's gonna really skyrocket. So, this is if Legendary came to me, but no holds bar, infinite GTA money, whatever I say pretty much gets set. Now, this will include TV shows, um, a few movies. Now, this'll include what happened in Monarch Legacy of Monsters Seasons 1 and 2. It will not include Supernova. Some of the ideas that I've had after watching this video, because this video is Firewood Media's video is a few years old, before Supernova was ever announced. Um, so the ideas are, my ideas as well, are before Supernova was announced. So in this, I guess, scenario, Supernova is not a thing. Forget about it. So, with that being said, out of this super intro, reacting to an intro of a different video for this video, it's confusing myself here. Let's get this underway. So, first off, after New Empire, and I guess leading up to Season 2 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, even though that would not really lead into it or anything, I would do a Mothra movie. I would like to do a Mothra movie. It would be kind of a crime not to. Again, with the whole marquee value thing, yes, that makes sense. That's why Godzilla and Kong are just like, people are going to see Godzilla, people are going to see Kong. It's simple as that. But I mean, it would be nice to have Mothra given like a little bit of chance, a little bit of love. And she's only been in 2 movies so far, died in one of them, and did survive in New Empire, which was a real surprise. So I would like to have this as a Mothra solo movie. Call it Mothra Batra War of the Queens or something. Yes, obviously, Batra's going to be in it. Now, the thing is, I would treat this like Godzilla vs. Kong. They're going to fight, but they're going to have to team up. And it is going to do something different with Batra's kind of mythos or whatever in the Monsterverse. So the way that was explained in Godzilla Kong New Empire is Godzilla kept all the Titans in check. He ruled them, kept them in line. Kong and the ape species kind of protected humanity, oversaw humanity from like the Titan threats. While Mothra kept Godzilla's temper in check and helped him rule. If he needed a little second pair of hands or wings, she would help him. The thing is, I would include Batra also helping, but they would be like a yin and yang kind of thing. As Mothra is more benevolent and will try and solve things peacefully, Batra has no tolerance for that bullshit. She says, while Mothra would be like, alright guys, come on, break it up, break it up. Batra would be like, no, stop your bullshit now, or you die. That type of thing. Maybe include the fact that Scar King tricked her to betraying Godzilla. And that's why they fight. And they have to come together to fight a giant monster, Titan, that since Godzilla 2014 I thought would be interesting to see in, like, as a giant monster, which is a chameleon. Have it, like, adapt to, like, fighting environments. Have it evolve during each fight or each encounter. And that also included with the movie, or not movie, the video game Evolve, where this creature would maybe consume like physical material like flesh, and it will evolve. Maybe it starts off at like the size of like a grizzly bear. It can get harmed by small arms fire, assault rifles, guns, whatever. But then if it eats enough like human flesh or whatever, or any living tissue, it gets like an armor, a pretty much like bulletproof armor kind of thing. If it eats more, it evolves again. But if it absorbs like radioactive energy, then it grows in size. So like this threat would be like, it needs to be stopped as soon as possible. and like it's a threat that Mothra and Batra both used to have to team up against in the past, before the whole thing with Scar King and Shimo. Another thing that I would also introduce with the Mothra movie is a human character that can pretty much... The annoying thing about the Monsterverse movies, not really including Kong Skull Island, because that takes place decades even before 2014, is that there's no real human character that kind of goes from movie to movie to movie to movie that kind of like brings everything together, or like that makes sense of everything. They started it with Dr. Sarazawa, but he dies in King of the Monsters. But then they were going to be like, maybe not Emma Russell, because she dies in that too. Millie Bobby Brown's Madison Russell. She was like a very bit part in Godzilla vs. Kong. And this whole thing with like, the movie would also establish a human character that would be like, we're going to follow this human character throughout the rest of this era? No, for the rest of this phase of the Monsterverse. So Mothra, Batra, War of the Queens, or whatever, will introduce not only Batra and another monster, which I've always wanted to use like other giant kaiju from like different types of movies, like Gorgo and Reptilicus. Didn't know which one to use, so since this chameleon-like monster loves to adapt and has been seen by like different like cultures and such, and it'll be perceived differently but similar to the point where it will have both of those names. You would call it Gorgo initially, but like maybe its monarch designation will be Titanus Reptilicus, that sort of thing. So the human character that I thought would be perfect, fitting, actually, is a character from the Heisei era, which is my favorite era of the Godzilla movies so far, is Miki Sagusa. Yes, we would actually be also introducing psychics, because why not? You got giant monsters. One of them is from outer space. Well, it won't be the only one. Spoiler alert, teaser for later on, is psychics. So it would have Miki Sagusa as kind of like the main character, and her journey throughout this phase would be her getting used to her powers and just getting stronger with her powers. So what her role would be in Monarch is that she's a part of a Monarch team, rescue team called Endeavor Team. Now they basically, during or after Titan events, um, they go through like the wrecked cities and they try and search and rescue. Duh. And it's more helpful, or I guess the deal that Mickey has with Monarch is that she will use those psychic powers to locate trapped people and to help. Or like that was like the type of deal that she had with Monarch, or whoever the head of Monarch is. Or like the head of Endeavor Team, who I would like to use from the really good graphic novel series Kingdom of Monsters and then Rulers of Earth, Stephen Woods. Good character, really good graphic novel series. If you like Godzilla, check those out. Kingdom of Monsters happens first, then Rulers of Earth. But that character is in both of those. The human antagonistic element would be Alan Jonah. For the love of God, he was so underdeveloped and underutilized in King of the Monsters, and we just like never seen him again after that. Poor Charles Dance, who plays the character, was so excited to see what he was going to do in the movie and was really bummed out that they did nothing with him really, which is kind of a bummer. So this would be a good kind of reintroduction slash hey, yeah, this character does exist, by the way. We're not taking into account of Kong Survivor Instinct. That game is supposed to be canon. It does have his character in it, but in this, I'm saying that's not canon. That game is not canon. I tried playing the game, could not finish it because it is boring as fuck. So yeah, this would have his character come back for sure. And yeah, so it would be kind of Godzilla vs. Kong beat for beat. The reason why Godzilla is not active in this is that after the events of New Empire, they basically just say he absorbed a lot of energy very quickly, got into 2 fights, and then after the battle in Rio de Janeiro, he needs to rest, and his body is now trying to get like used to acclimated to like that like 2 jumps, not one, 2 jumps in energy surge. So that is why he is kind of sitting on the bench for this one. But the movie would end with Mothra and Batra teaming up. Mothra kind of forgiving and realizing, yes, Scar King did trick her. Trick Batra, yes. And I guess to kind of not make amends or like feel like she should redeem herself, Batra redeeming herself, is that Batra ends up going to the Hollow Earth and helping Kong down there. So, got Godzilla and Mothra at the surface. Batra, like a post-credit scene or epilogue, whatever, would be Kong kind of like starting to, you know, get a feel for like, okay, so you guys want me to rule over Hollow Earth, the other apes. Batra will come in and basically say, hey, yeah, I'm gonna help you run shit down here. And he just goes, sure, why not? Whatever. Cool. So that would end. Then we would get season 2 of this would happen. This movie would potentially come out before season 2 of Monarch. Then season 2 of Monarch happens. Now the next movie, no, we would not do another movie. We would do a mini series, maybe on Apple TV Plus, maybe on Netflix, maybe on HBO Max. Who knows? Now, for leading up to the reveal of this is that for a lot of guys, this idea actually popped up when I saw a fan film on YouTube a couple of years ago called Shelter 54 by Lost Utopia Films. If you're a Godzilla fan, if you love horror, if you're a big Godzilla fan, watch that video. Holy shit, it was so fucking good. So good. And this just idea popped in my head. Kind of similar to it, but not really. Because this series would be more horror themed. This mini series would be more horror themed. It would introduce one new Titan monster, which is another Toho owned one, which I'll get to in a bit. And it would also showcase properly on the big screen, or on a screen, a Titan that was introduced, but not perfectly utilized, which I'll get to in a moment too. But for the most part will be, brace yourselves everyone, will be kind of human focused in a bunch of humans trapped in a Monarch bunker during a Titan attack, but the threat isn't outside, it's on the inside. Now, if you watch Godzilla King of the Monsters, they show a map of, well, the world, and in the US specifically, there is a Monarch bunker for for people to take cover in during Titan attacks in the upper Midwest of the United States, like near Montana, Idaho, over there, near the state of Washington. That is going to be where the Monarch bunker is. That's where everything's going to take place. Now, the two Titans in question that are going to be fighting above that is Titanus Abaddon, which was in Kong Survivor Instinct, Giant Spider. It'll be cool to see that fight. The Toho creature that I would bring in is Zilla. Now, going back to the graphic novel series Rulers of Earth, the follow-up to Kingdom of Monsters, Zilla is introduced in that and given an amazing amount of screen time. Screen time? Page time. Page time. Like, he's done properly. Like, you go like, oh god, this design is gonna get fucking insta-killed by, like, legit Godzilla. No. He's kind of not a super fan hated character now because of that. And, again, also in Shelter 50, Zilla's in Shelter 54 as well. And a part of those videos too. And they're really, really good that Zilla's done justice. Proper justice. So it would be called, like, Monarch Bunker, whatever that number is. Honestly, I would call it, like, 96 maybe? Because the miniseries essentially would be like Resident Evil. Because when the humans that are stuck in the bunker, because of the fighting, they get completely caved in. And basically what they have to do is try and turn the power on, be able to get to the radio and get that working, and then essentially tell the greater of Monarch saying, hey, there's people here. We are going to need help. We need to know what's going on topside. But because of the fighting, not only did it completely cave them in, it unearthed something. Not a big monster, maybe around 7, 8 feet tall, a Wendigo. Like a Wendigo species. So that's the cool thing about the Monsterverse is not only do we have giant monsters that are like hundreds of feet tall, maybe even bigger, we do have some creatures that are not super big that you've seen on Skull Island. There are creatures that are able to be dealt with by humans personally. So this would be one of them. It would be like a Wendigo, essentially. Now, the human cast would be the main human cast. There'll be like a bunch of like not side characters, like extras that are just like regular citizens that are like in like a big area of the bunker that are like staying safe as can be while two giant monsters are fighting above. And the main cast of characters is 4 of a Monarch team, one of them being injured, so not really doing anything, but yeah. 1 British tourist, which I'll get to in a bit, more on that character. But then you'll have like various other like citizens. You got some that are maybe one's like a school teacher. That's not Kate Randa. I just forgot that she was a school teacher for a second. You got 2 firefighters. One of them being young and what's it called? Young and very, very selfless. Ugh. And the other being like a more experienced, more not old like elderly, but like an older guy who's more kind of a prick, kind of an asshole, pretty selfish for the most part, but then by the end of it, he has that change where it's like, yeah, this is my job. I'm a firefighter after all. Forgot why I became a firefighter. I'm helping people for a reason. So he gets that kind of motivation throughout what's going on. Maybe an EMT, but it's like people that were caught like obviously during the middle of the fight of Zilla and Abaddon. And they even give Zilla the name like, okay, yeah, is Zilla, but Titanus Gyrosaur. For those who know Ultraman, there you go. So, while fighting the Indigo, and also... So, some citizens do get attacked by the Wendigo, and they kind of turn. Like, the main Wendigo creature is the obvious Wendigo. You got, like, the kind of, like, skull-like head, the antlers, the jagged-looking antlers, the, like, kind of bright eyes. Like, I want there to be, like, horror elements, like proper horror elements, like claustrophobia, and it'll be like Resident Evil, as in, like, okay, we gotta go to the power, we go to the power room, but gotta get something out of the way. Now we have to go look for something. So it's a lot of, like, back and forth, just like from, like, classic Resident Evil games. So it wouldn't be a long mini-series, but give or take, like, 8 to 10 episodes, but, like, each episode is, like, an hour-ish long. Episode 1 would literally be, like, them fighting, and then, like, the human characters getting into bunker, the Monarch bunker, it getting sealed, and then them figuring out, oh shit, we're not alone in here. That would be literally episode 1. The fighting would still, like, go out to the fighting, like, it would go back and forth, like, this is what everyone's doing here, like, but now let's go back for, like, a couple minutes topside to see the two monsters fighting, the remnants of the Monarch team, kind of trying to deal with what's going on, evacuate people, try and stop the fighting, what the hell's going on, and it would end with the survivors getting out, obviously. The Monarch team that was sent in, or that was in there, they actually do have well, the leader of the team that's there, he's kind of like the main character of the series, but they do end up getting saved after the fighting's done. Funny enough, the one who stops the fighting is Godzilla, so it's shortly after the Mothra movie. Godzilla will show up with Mothra. They basically stop the fighting, and Zilla is then found out to be, like, that Zilla species. Still kind of don't know if there's more than one of the Zilla species. They might kind of, like, kind of self-reproduce, but not to the extent of, like, the 98 movie, where it was like, oh yeah, one Zilla just laid, like, hundreds of eggs. It might be something different than that, or, like, definitely nerfed to not reproduce that much. But the Zilla species is biologically, like, loyal to Godzilla, since I think Toho told Legendary that there's only one Godzilla, like, Dagon from 2014, that skeleton is not really Godzilla, but similar to it. So the Zilla species would be also similar, but they would be like the second Godzilla and Mothra come in and they stop the fight, Abaddon will just go like, fine, whatever, and just fuck off. And then Zilla will be like, ah, yes, Godzilla, yes. Like, immediately bows, like, no, like, hesitation. Like, Zilla would, like, look up, be like, oh my god, it's the Godzilla and Mothra. I'm at your command. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. You want me to fuck up Kong? I'll go into the Hollow Earth right now and kick the shit out of him. But I know I'll probably get my ass kicked. So that's how that would end. And of course, Miki Sakusa and Endeavor Team are the ones that actually do end up finding the survivors in that bunker. They're the ones that get them out and assist with taking down the Wendigo once and for all. So that would be like the next miniseries after Monarch Season 2. The next movie would be a solo movie. Now, don't know why Legendary just for some reason don't want to do solo movies anymore. The next one would be, I think, necessary. And the name will kind of be a little bit weird. Godzilla, Wrath of Destroya. Now, why is Destroya not the main end of the phase big bad? I have a better idea for the end of the phase big bad. Kind of switching the Heisei movies, like, order. Spoiler for that, I guess. So, Destroyer would be in this. Now, it would also include Alan Jonah and his team again. You would find out that Alan Jonah is actually working under one person, essentially. Like, you thought Alan Jonah was like the head of this group. No. He's actually working under somebody. The main leader of this group, I wanted to say, get like the actor from Shang-Chi. The one who played, I think his name was Wen Wu, actually. They couldn't use the Mandarin, but like, the Mandarin, essentially. The real Mandarin. Shang-Chi's father character. Have that actor play as the main leader of, like, Alan Jonah's forces. And finally give them a name. The Red Bamboo. So yes, the head of the Red Bamboo would have a eye patch. Now, funny enough, kind of going back to Firewood Media, um, he really hated the Ebra movie. So, this would kind of take a little bit from that, but, kind of like hey, remember that? Somebody texted me, look at that. It would be kind of like that, but that would be like the only thing. There's no Ebra, nothing. Maybe there is Ebra. So, essentially, after the end of one of the post-credit scenes for King of the Monsters, Alan Jonah and his group actually managed to buy that severed head of Ghidorah during the fight against Godzilla and Isla de Mar in Mexico. So, I don't know why Alan Jonah would, well, the Red Bamboo, for that matter, would give it to Walter Simmons to create a Titan, that Mechagodzilla, to kill all the Titans and try and put humanity back at the top of the food chain. Why would Jonah do that? That makes no sense. So, to kind of not retcon it, but to kind of explain it, is that a character that we haven't seen, that wasn't mentioned, hasn't been mentioned yet, as of Season 2 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and of course Godzilla vs. Kong, is Walter Simmons' wife. Now, the way that I would explain it is that Walter Simmons and his wife have two different companies. Walter Simmons, CEO of Apex Cybernetics. His wife is the head of a bioengineering company, Biomajor. Another Godzilla reference. Shout out to Godzilla vs. Biollante, which is my favorite Heisei movie. So, she would be CEO of Biomajor. And as Apex Cybernetics uses technology to try and improve humanity, Biomajor would use bioengineering to do that. So, what the wife would also kind of agree with what Alan Jonah and the Red Bamboo are about, that humanity has gone too far, and leaves Walter Simmons essentially by the end of the movie because of what he wants to do. And he ends up finding out that she has the head of Ghidorah, and he takes it essentially. So that would explain that. But this would kind of like rectify what she was like, okay, I finally have remnants of cells of Ghidorah's like skull, and now I get to complete my like research on a Titan that can help give balance to like the planet, creating a bioengineering Ghidorah's self-healing regeneration, along with some other titans and other creatures, one of them being a giant titan, like crustacean creature, like a lobster crab thing. Maybe not Ebra, essentially, but similar-ish enough, would create Destroya. Now, of course, it would start. You will see like a core Destroya creature, like a main one, that is not really like strong yet, and it would send out the drones that are essentially pretty big. And you would get moments of like hordes of these things fighting like armies and shit, fighting like monarch soldiers and stuff like that. You'll see ground forces. I think Firewood Media even said like dealing with swarms of them like the Tyranids in Warhammer 40k. Similar stuff like that. Or World War Z zombies. You got a handful of soldiers and you got like a fuck ton of like these small but big destroyer drones. As they also get energy, they go back and feed it to the core destroyer creature, which grows and evolves, and then you get the main form. Now, this movie would, for the most part, kind of fix what Legendary, for some reason, did with Godzilla. Nothing against Adam Wingard, but from Godzilla vs. Kong and then New Empire, just making Godzilla a raging murder machine, kind of out of nowhere, it feels like. I think they explain it, but like at the end of the King of the Monsters, it's like, okay, we need to coexist with him. We can pretty much trust him, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, yeah, he's just going fucking mental. Now he's just killing everything. Hopefully, with Mothra keeping his shit on lockdown, that's good. But like this movie would kind of reestablish him as a protector for the most part. Like most of the general public of the world sees Godzilla as like he needs to probably die. We have to fucking deal with this. Like he just destroys everything. Like what the fuck? This would kind of end up being like, okay, so he's the lesser of two evils, but not evil. We could we should tolerate him. We should tolerate him maybe having a death match in the middle of a city. Nothing too bad. Still an intense fight, but in the end, Godzilla wins, along with Mothra helping him, maybe Zilla helping as well. Maybe that's when they show another Zilla. Oh, there's two or three Zillas now. And maybe they explain something that happens like, oh yeah, after the first Zilla woke up in French Polynesia, little hint Easter egg to that movie, hint nod whatever to that movie. Now they reproduce, then they're like two smaller ones with the main Zilla. So they all team up to fight. Godzilla does most of the heavy lifting, obviously, it's his movie. Um, maybe they might show moments of like Godzilla kind of wanting to hear the Doom music kick in, but then Mothra and like Zilla, Mothra just goes like, yo, 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 calm down. Maybe have some cool like team up moments. Them jump off of Godzilla, the Zilla jump off of Godzilla, and do like some, not like a dog paw, but like get Destroyer's wings, something like that. Uh, yeah, have like a Destroy movie. Again, the main kind of like human characters is Endeavor Team, and Miki Sagusa. Obviously, getting her powers a little bit more stronger, getting more acclimated with them, stopping Biomajor, and of course, stopping the Red Bamboo's plants. And you're finding out that they're trying to get into Hollow Earth too. The Red Bamboo trying to get into Hollow Earth as well. But it might not end the way they want it to. Maybe they do find a way to get to a heave, to get to some information on where some portals are. So that would be the next movie. Now, right after that, I would say the next thing I would want is a Hollow Earth show. Call it Monarch Legacy Chronicles of Hollow Earth. This would be kind of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. meets Godzilla the Animated Series, the follow up to the '98 movie. And will just basically be a kind of monster of the episode kind of thing. Now, the setup would be that after the events of New Empire, after Hollow Earth Outpost 1 is destroyed, Monarch does tries to get a foothold, a proper foothold in Hollow Earth, trying to set up outposts, having trouble. A lot of areas are either more dangerous than they thought or not properly surveyed. Just they're having a tough time trying to set up. So they end up going, okay, we have a flagship outpost on the surface world, Castle Bravo, Outpost 54. We're going to need a flagship outpost here in Hollow Earth. So while they're trying to set that up, the ones in charge of Hollow Earth operations, that being Rebecca Hall's character Irene Andrews, um, basically says, "Hey, we need a team to come in and help lay the groundwork for certain areas before we set up an outpost, or to see if, hey, this Monarch like surveillance team went missing. We need to find out what's going on." So, a small team is set up of, you know, four soldiers, four kind of like soldier-like characters, one person who's like the tech person who makes a specially retrofitted heave called the Gotengo. Another Toho kind of classic. So this kind of heave would be a very, very, very multi-purpose specialized heave. Heave being Hollow Earth aerial vehicle. So this would be able to go underwater as a submersible, would be able to even have a drill pop up and be able to go underground as well for some moments there, and is able to be a pretty much of a tank. Might get into some artillery fights with some other Titans. But this series would be the team and Suko actually being the main kind of Titan that helps. Suko takes a liking to the group, and they call themselves the Hollow Earth Advancement Team. Heat. Shout out to another shout out to the animated series, which was called Humanitarian something something Team, I think. It's been a while since I watched that show, but that would be this version of Heat. So they would have a Titan specialist, like a cryptozoologist. She would be the one that goes like, okay, so like this is what she would document the Titans and be like, okay, so this Titan has this type of, this one's not a threat, this one is. Just let's not piss that one off. You got one person that's like the tech person, like I said, is the one who made the Gotengo essentially. You got the team leader, who does have a mysterious connection to the Iwi. We'll get to in season 2. That'll be actually for a different video. And you would have the leader of the soldiers, and then the 4 soldiers. So, a good handful of people. There'd be some moments where they deal with smaller, like, not Titan threats, smaller, like, creature threats. Some with Titans. It'll also be Suko, of course, is also a part of the team, in a way. So, by the end of the first episode, which would bring back a Titan we haven't seen on screen yet, Camazotz. Episode 1 would take place kind of near the bottom, or like just under where Skull Island accesses to Hollow Earth, and it would connect to the what's it called? Would connect to the graphic novel Kingdom Kong, kind of solidifying making that canon, essentially. So Kong would be fighting Camazotz, but would have trouble. So Suko and Heat would actually kind of assist Kong and actually do most of the work to either killing Camazotz or sealing him up again. Doesn't matter. I actually, you know what? Yeah, killing Camazotz for good, putting an end to that threat. Um, and then Kong would be like, okay, so I've been seeing that you and this like team of humans, group of humans, kind of works well together, and you do need training, like proper training. So I'm gonna have you keep this team of humans safe. You're going to watch over them. You're going to assist them. I'm going to continue trying to build a proper, like, trying to keep the other apes into, into a proper, like, civilization or whatever here in Hollow Earth. So Suko kind of does that. So this is also like a journey for Suko. Him trying to not only get stronger, but also realize that kind of connection with the humans. We're kind of going along with that legend that was in New Empire where the apes were supposed to kind of protect the humans or whatever from like Titan threats. So it's kind of Suko going through that. And it would end with the last episode would kind of lead up to the next movie, but this show is not required watching. It was really annoying that Marvel kept doing that at the at the end of Endgame. It's like, oh, you gotta watch WandaVision to kind of understand Doctor Strange Multiverse of Badness. Like, why? I don't want to watch a show to understand something that happens in a movie. So the shows here in my next phase of the Monsterverse are not required watching. Like the miniseries isn't required. And like in the Godzilla Wrath of Destroy movie, to explain kind of like Zilla, they'll like have a good amount of time to mention, hey, brief synopsis, this is what happened there. There's another Titan like creature that kind of is loyal to Godzilla. That's it. That happened in Midwestern US. That's all said and done. Now let's get along with Godzilla fighting Destroya. And so this will be the same thing with this Chronicles of Hollow Earth show. As the final episode will be Monarch finally constructing their flagship outpost, calling it Atlantis. We got Castle Bravo on the surface. We got Atlantis in Hollow Earth because it's would be located in the Atlantic Ocean in that area. Whatever. Maybe it's like directly below Castle Bravo. So you would have Castle Bravo, and if you kept going straight down, you would hit this one in Hollow Earth, Atlantis. It's mythical, sure, whatever. And they would have to heat Suko, Kong, and the defenses of Atlantis would have to deal with the remnants, a few evil apes, 4 or 5 evil apes that were loyal to Scar King that kind of want to bring his reign kind of back, even though Scar King is like dead. So those trying to get revenge in a way. But it would end with them being stopped. 1 or 2 of those apes that are still alive hide out in a cave. It leads to like the next big bad, which we'll get to in the next one. And that next one is, well, they would also, another post-credit or epilogue scene would be after the whole fight, Trapper is paired up with a Japanese inventor who used to work with Apex Cybernetics that worked alongside Ren Serizawa, but did not like the whole fact that what they were doing making Mechagodzilla. Did not hold a grudge with Titans, actually liked Titans. going to pair up with Trapper for a little project. So Trapper does enjoy being a veterinarian for Titans, but it's tough to do since he's like really small and he's dealing with giant monsters. So, to kind of help combat that, Trapper is going to be given a really good tool. Project JJ, I don't remember the year when Godzilla vs. Megalon came out. Spoiler alert, Jet Jaguar. But I'm going to do Jet Jaguar differently. So, leading up to the next movie, Kong, King from Within. Can't really do King Kong because of rights issues, even though I could just make it called King Kong. This movie is going to be, obviously, Kong finally establishing himself as king, as an alpha, a proper, true alpha, in Hollow Earth with the other apes and also Batra and other allies that were in the Chronicles of Hollow Earth show as well being introduced. One of them being like a giant wolf canine like titan, kind of like the wart dogs that were in New Empire, but instead of looking disgusting, looking more regular kind of canine like. But then they see that Kong defeated Scar King, and the episode will just be like them, the alpha of that pack, challenging Kong. Kong and the wolf creature, wolf titan, has a duel. Kong wins and wins the loyalty of and respect of like that of those like canine like titans. Also kind of proving the fact that these aren't just dumb animals. They actually do have intelligence. That they do have personality, which is good. So, Kong King from Within is just basically Kong cementing himself as king, as a proper alpha in Hollow Earth, proving to the other apes, proving to Zuko, of course, proving to Batra, proving to the other allied titans that he's came across in Hollow Earth. The human characters would be Miki Sakusa would sadly not be in this one because Hollow Earth. But the human characters would be Gia, Irene Andrews, bring back Nathan Lind actually, kind of explain where he was after GVK. Trapper, Bernie as part of Monarch now, as the not cinematographer, as a chronologist, chronicling what's going on, essentially, keeping a kind of like a diary, a my brain is not wanting to work. Keeping stuff like chronicled. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. And Trapper as the still the Titan vet, but now he has Jet Jaguar, which he uses similar to. He's not in the Jet Jaguar thing. He controls Jet Jaguar from Atlantis, from the Monarch Outpost in Hollow Earth. He controls it like how. Damn. How like the characters are controlled in Ready Player One. So he'll have like a headset. He'll have like augmented kind of reality to like move Jet Jaguar around. But how Jet Jaguar is used is not as a fighting titan, not only as a fighting titan. Basically, Jet Jaguar is used as to assist with Trapper and operating on Titans. One scene that I was like really just like giddy of thinking about is one of the apes is like ill. And it's not just simple, yeah, walk it off. Like, Trapper uses Jet Jaguar scanners to be like, the ape has like a not like a cancer, but like something that needs to be operated on, or the ape is gonna die. So Jaguar basically does like an actual like surgery and like an actual operation to like sedate the ape, um, and operate, take out the ailment, and the ape is okay. So like that would be pretty cool, and like the reasoning for like the color scheme and the look is that there are different variations of Jaguar, but for some reason the apes just fucking love this color scheme and like what Jaguar looks like. It would be like a mix of design wise, it'd be a mix of like Singular Point, but also the OG kind of excuse me design. So it would look like a giant human essentially, giant human robot. But there would be kind of like mechanical, obvious looking elements. Now, the Jaguar does have like a kind of like a combat mode because we're not gonna be like, oh yeah, Trapper just can fight and knows how to fight. He could do like karate moves and such. I don't want to do that. It'll make it too cheesy. Is to just like have like, oh, go into combat mode, like how in Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man went into insta kill mode against the Thanos' army, and similar to that. Just be like, oh, we have a fight. Jaguar activate, battle mode or whatever. And we'll get some like cool fighting scenes there too. Now the main threat, though, the main threat is actually a very weak Titan, physically weak Titan. I forget what the creature was, the mythical creature was in Japanese, but it would get that name. It was like Doegon, I think. It's a Titan based off of fear. Think of Scarecrow from Batman. Crane is very weak. Batman gets a hold of him, he's a pushover, easy pushover in a physical fight. So this creature, this Titan, would use like a kind of fear toxin. And that would be the whole thing Kong has to deal with. We would see what Kong is truly afraid of. It would drive him mad, it would drive the other Titans around him mad too, or it would just like paralyze them in fear. Obviously, it wouldn't affect Jaguar because it's a robot. But for the most part, this would be for Kong to try and like overcome that fear. To pretty much say, I cannot let these people down. They are looking to me. I need to lock in. So this movie would basically be Kong conquering that fear, becoming the king from within, to stop the Titan easily at the end, obviously too. It would nullify the effects of the fear toxin to the other apes, to the other Titans, and that would pretty much cement them looking up to Kong, be like, okay, you are the king. We are going to follow you. Not, we don't need to like doubt that. And at the like I said at the end of season 1 of Chronicles of Hollow Earth, the 2 or 3 remnants of Scar King's army does find and accidentally unleash the Fear Titan. So that would be that kind of like kind of tease. But again, you don't need to watch Chronicles of Hollow Earth to watch and understand Kong King from Within. The next thing that I would say would come out would be Season 3 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Now, even though I have watched Season 2, since it's not really my idea, I can't really think of how they would continue from Season 2. So all I would say is on regarding to season 3 of Monarch is that whatever writers do what they do. I think all I would pretty much say is that all I would stipulate would be is don't kill off that kind of small Monarch team that they set up at the end with Keiko, Kate, Randa, May, or Cora, whatever her name is, and Tim. Have those four stay alive. Have that small team stay alive. Have also Lee Shaw, Kurt Russell's character, stay alive too. Besides whatever they want to do with Kentaro and Isabel Simmons, whatever. I kind of don't really care about those characters, but like those five characters: Lee Shaw, Keiko and Kate Randa, Tim, and Cora or May, whatever her fucking name is. Who cares? Have those five stay alive by the end of season 3, because they're actually going to show up at the final movie. Now, after that, I keep forgetting about that this show has been greenlit and I think is being worked on now at the time of July 2nd, 2026, is the Lee Shaw spinoff called Red Monarch, I think, where it's young Lee Shaw, Wyatt Russell, in the 80s trying to stop a Soviet plan to use a Titan to destroy the US. Again, that's not my idea. Just whatever they have going, have that be the next thing after season 3 of Monarch. Maybe kind of do some like. There are some things in season 3 of Monarch that they mention that kind of don't make sense or like kind of would love to be touched upon. Nothing too major, but like I kind of understand it, but kind of why would they do this? And then in Red Monarch, had that be like, oh, that makes sense. One character that I would like to reappear, and this is actually the perfect spot to do it, is Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston would still be pretty well aged for Red Monarch, for him to run in, for James Conrad to run into Lee Shaw in the 80s in Russia. I can see that working. I can see that actually. I hope that ends up being the case. Like, if I call that, then sweet. Calling that now. James Conrad, Tom Hiddleston will somehow appear in Red Monarch. Would be cool. So that would happen. Then we get to the the end game event movie of this phase of the Monsterverse, which I'm calling Godzilla X Kong Destroy All Monsters. Now, it's going to play similar to Supernova. Spoiler for Supernova, the main bad guy monster is Space Godzilla. It's the reason why Destroy was Godzilla's solo villain and not this. Now, Destroy All Monsters, I would have similar but different to, I guess, what I know from Supernova, which is not a lot, is that after everything that's happened, all the monster fighting, that the I guess you could say kind of negligence that Monarch has been really doing over the time, of a lot of cities being destroyed, a lot of lives being lost. A few world governments have finally has had enough. One of them being the U.S. So there's no real bad guy humans in it. I mean, yes, Red Bamboo are still out there. I still really haven't 100% thought or had the vision to maybe include them in here yet. But Red Bamboo is still out there. That's all you need to know. But there's no real human antagonist. It's the U.S. and just hand few of other countries. Some that have been recent battlegrounds for some of the Titans, like the Prime Minister of Brazil. Obviously would be fucking pissed because of Rio de Janeiro. The Italian Prime Minister obviously would be very pissed that what happened in Rome. The fact that Godzilla just likes to chill and take a nap in the Colosseum multiple times. So it would be a bunch of world governments kind of coming together to want to stop Monarch, not using deadly force, but to kind of kind of force Monarch to be like, okay, we need to stop. We need really to like deal with these Titans. You guys are just like not really doing anything. Like this needs to stop. So we're going to make something that we're coming together to make something that is going to protect us from the Titans since you Monarch aren't really doing the best job. So the governments come together and create a mechanical fighting robot called Mogera. Hopefully, those who know Godzilla know where this movie is going to go. So, as they construct Mogera, which obviously would piss off Godzilla, but not to the point of like how Mechagodzilla was made, because that was using like the remnants of Monster Zero, King Ghidorah, and Godzilla sensed that with Mechagodzilla. With Mogera, it's just a fighting robot, people in the robot using it to fight. Not really trusting the Titans and Godzilla. So obviously Godzilla will be pissed. But also the government would like to know. Monarch has been staying silent about what kind of elements, what kind of resources are in Hollow Earth. So they're trying to get to Hollow Earth. However, a threat comes from above. Space Godzilla. Yes, Space Godzilla. Done kind of similar how Heisei Space Godzilla was created, where it's cells from Godzilla. I wonder how they got out into space. We'll find out at the end. Or you might find out at the end. But cells from Godzilla, along with supernova radiation. No, not the supernova movie that's coming out. Supernova radiation and other crystalline, I guess, type of space crystals have created Space Godzilla. Comes down to Earth. Does fight Godzilla, Mothra, and like a Zilla or two, and doesn't kill them but beats them. Because when Space Godzilla gets to Earth initially, he's strong, but not at his full strength. He's strong enough to at least incapacitate Mothra, maybe kill one of the Zillas, and incapacitate Godzilla. So, Space Godzilla senses even more power, more strength in Hollow Earth. So he goes to Hollow Earth and starts imposing on Kong's territory. Kong tries to stop him with his aid, Batra, Zuko, some other allied titans also in Hollow Earth that are loyal to Kong. But Space Godzilla is still pretty strong. Now, during Godzilla's fight, it was a decent back and forth, but Space Godzilla just won barely. And same thing with Kong. So, then it would bring all the humans together. Like, this movie would be like literally the end game. You would get the Endeavor team. Definitely get them. You would bring back like Sam Coleman. You would bring back General Foster, who's a general now, not a colonel. Like, she would be back with G Team as well. You would get, in Hollow Earth, you would get Heat. You would get Bernie, Trapper. You would get the characters from, you would get like Nathan Lind. You would get Gia and Irene Andrews. It would just basically be that. You would get Kyle Chandler as Mark Russell back. You would get Millie Bobby Brown even to, I don't know, do something. Maybe she's now part of Monarch officially. You would even get the leftover Randas, Keiko, Kate. You would get that like small team. Maybe have Lee Shaw, depending how season 3 would go. as part of that small team as well. Maybe have Millie Bobby Brown a part of that team too. Kind of like bring everything together, all the human characters together. Oh, a part of Endeavor team, I would also bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson's Ford Brody, because other than dealing with Endeavor team initially, other than dealing with search and rescue stuff, if they deal with the Red Bamboo or other like terrorist like organizations that are like near or wanting to use like weaponry against Titans or other humans, they would need an explosive ordnance disposal specialist for Brody. So again, that would be like a perfect way of bringing all the human characters together. This budget would be like literally couple $1 billion already. But you would have all these. It would essentially be one mad fight in Hollow Earth, brought to the surface, Hollow Earth, back to the surface again, maybe ending in Hollow Earth again. This would be Space Godzilla will be like insanely strong. Goes to the North Pole, and at that North Pole center axis will try and create a giant crystal like spire that will not only reach to the upper atmosphere, just like where the ozone layer like kind of like cuts off, and try and goes even into the Hollow Earth and try and out to the South Pole. Try and like gain power from like full on like before. It's just basically a crystal that like keeps going down, 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 and they have to try and stop Space Godzilla before it hits the center, the core of the Earth, which would destroy the planet essentially, or kill it almost instantly before him getting full power at the South Pole. So it would just basically be a giant like it would be Space Godzilla by himself, but he is like way more than enough to handle against Godzilla, Kong, Mothra, Batra, Zillas, a few Zillas, Jet Jaguar, Mogera, because then Mogera will have like a fight or two against Godzilla or some of the Titans that are on the surface. But then the government's kind of like realize like, hey, yeah, okay, yeah, this is the greater threat. We need to stop Space Godzilla. Like the governments that are involved with trying to stop Monarch and Godzilla and the Titans and stuff like that, they're not like stupid. They're like, we really need a way to defend ourselves. Like Monarch, you're supposed to like not only stop like the shit that's been going on, like needs to be stopped. You're supposed to like figure out know these Titans and prevent stuff like G-Day, prevent like the Rio de Janeiro like fucking 2v2 deathmatch, or what happened in Hong Kong with Godzilla and Kong having a fucking massive fight, and then Mecha Godzilla happening too. So it's kind of the government's. They're not like stupid or anything like that. They're like, we need like a way to defend ourselves. Like if something like Rio de Janeiro happens again, we need a way to defend ourselves before like it gets to that point where the city is just fucking destroyed. So there'll be like a few moments where like Mogera would come across either Godzilla or Mothra and like not kill them, but like either incapacitate or just like ward away. Maybe show like one scene where Amaluk is like on its way to like a city and Monarch really can't do anything about it. Godzilla and Mothra maybe are doing something else. And Mogera is sent in, stops the threat. Yay, that's good. The government did something right for once. That would be a surprise, to be honest. Yeah, so it would end up being a giant, like, fucking battle royale, essentially, at the North Pole. Godzilla, his, like, personal allies. Kong, his personal allies. Jet Jaguar, Mogera, all fighting Space Godzilla at once. And at the end, when all is said and done, the world governments do kind of be like, okay, yes, we're still keeping Mogera so we can defend ourselves. Monarch, you continue like doing shit with the Titans, or like trying to deal with the Titans. You try and do your own. You continue doing your own thing. We are going to have our own thing with Mogera protecting us. And that's how the movie would end, with the post-credit scene or epilogue being that Monarch realized, the higher-ups of Monarch, Iron Rangers being one of them, other higher-ups as well, will realize that this is the second known Titan that came from space that we had to deal with. But this one was a little bit weird. How did Godzilla cells get from Earth to space? We don't know. So, we're going to have a little subdivision set up to deal with cosmic threats and to deal with space essentially. And that would end the that phase. I'm calling this phase the Godzilla Kong phase of the Monsterverse. It would mostly center on those two as like the main titans. The next phase, because of course after thinking about this and doing this kind of like mental kind of gymnastics with getting my thoughts out here for what I would do with the Monsterverse, I of course thought of the next phase, which is hopefully not going to be as long as this video. But yeah. That being said, that is the Godzilla Kong phase of the Monsterverse that I'm doing, that I would do, not including Godzilla Kong Supernova. Don't even know what Red Monarch would be or what season 3 of Legacy of Monsters is going to end up being. Again, I would just at least have those characters survive in season 3 of Monarch to then be part of the movies for this grand finale of a movie. Would be Godzilla Kong destroying monsters. I hope you guys enjoyed. I do want to. I'm trying to continue with the whole recording and uploading. Stuff's been just going on. I am trying to fight like this, my laziness in general. But check out Firewood Media Inc. Cole McCormick. I doubt you'll ever get this or see this video, but if you do, thank you for staying over an hour to listen to my bullshit. Yeah, thanks to you, it's helped my creative juices flowing. Now, I'm not saying to anybody else that my video is better than his. I loved his pitch for the Monsterverse, going if that went forward. Um, but like that video inspired me to get this video out of the over hour long it is. But if he ends up seeing this, Cole, thank you. That was amazing. Um, it'll be cool to do a collab later down the line. Hopefully, that would be pretty neat. Both Godzilla fans, come on, man, come on. But yeah, hope everybody enjoyed. If you did, like the video. If you're not subscribed, might as well subscribe now, especially if you watched our video by my dumbass. I will definitely do a next phase, which I'm kind of working on in here. Um, Firewood Cole has other like pitch videos that he did. One was like a video game, which even got me into thinking of if I had a Godzilla kind of video game, what would it be? So I have a pitch video for that too. Another phase of the Monsterverse, which, oh boy, if you thought this was wacky, the next one, holy shit. I'm going fucking mental with the next phase in my head. Oh boy. With that all being said, check out Cole McCormick's videos, Firewood Media Inc. Yeah. And also, yeah, watch my stuff too, please.